One of my favorite streamers of all time to watch is Rush. He's pretty effortlessly funny. He's just a really entertaining guy, and he's very good at the game that he plays. And something that I noticed in between queues in this specific VOD is that he had this notepad where he like logged his matches and what happened, what went well, what went bad, and kind of complimented himself, also bringing himself down to earth. And I thought that it was a pretty cool idea, and I wanted to see if it's actually useful in other games. So I did it for Street Fighter V. And so I played 10 sets with my friend Juices. I just want to preface this by saying he told me beforehand that he was going to be playing a bunch of different playstyles in order to help me. He wanted to play playstyles that I obviously struggle against. So if you see him doing some wild and random things, he's not like bad at the game. He's actually helping me out, and I really appreciate that. The first match here is obviously Jury versus Chun. I want to put the notes here on the screen, and we're going to go through them. So stand heavy punch was still an issue because I could not get around Chun-Li's stand heavy punch reliably. Like, I couldn't whiff punish it even though he was whiffing it right in front of me. I couldn't stuff it because I just wasn't ready for it, and I wasn't jumping over it. I just wasn't really reacting to it at all, and that's a big problem in this matchup. The second thing was I couldn't stay focused enough to get a read before his playstyle changed because, like I said, he's kind of moving through different phases and different playstyles, and I could not get a read on any of it. Mostly, I think because this was the first game of the day, so my brain was still kind of turning on, and that starts to fix itself later on. The fourth thing was that, or sorry, third thing, character selection does not matter, and I need to get that out of my head because most of this game, I was like, oh man, should I have played Cammy? Should I have played Karen because I'm losing? Instead, you just have to think about what you're doing wrong, right? You can't be thinking about other characters and like switching characters. It doesn't really matter that much, so I have to get that out of my head and really focus on the game more. And then the last thing for this set is obviously anti-airs, and this is a common theme that you're going to see throughout all the different sets that we're going to take a look at. So second set was Cammy versus Chun. The first thought here was something very simple but very effective. I just wrote, "You're scared," because I was playing super scared. I was afraid to challenge anything because I thought I was going to take damage. I was afraid to confirm in anything because I messed up. I was just playing very inefficiently and scared. The second thing was whiff punish the big buttons. I think Juices was actually whiffing stand heavy punch right in my face to get it into my head that I needed to whiff punish it, because before we played this matchup in the past, he never whiffed the button. So I think he was doing it on purpose to try and get me to whiff punish it. The third thing was, now is not the time to worry about winning or losing. It's strictly improvement. This is an environment where there is no consequences for losing. There is no glory for winning. It is strictly to try new things, to improve, and to get better. And you just have to kind of cut that thought of, oh my gosh, I'm losing a lot, completely out. You know, it doesn't matter if you're 20-0 or 0-20 by the end of the session. Just learn something and just try new things. And then I had to kind of give myself some reinforcement here. You are fundamentally sound on the ground. Just believe in yourself more and believe in the hits that you're landing. You know, convert them. And then towards the end of a round, I just get too nervous with a life lead. And I take a lot of unnecessary risk that just lead to me losing and dying. So the third set was Cammy versus Ryu, and I wrote, "You have too many ways to get around fireballs to be losing to them." As you can see here on the screen, he's just throwing a bunch of fireballs, and I'm either neutral jumping and trying a dive kick and just failing miserably, or not really doing anything at all. But I do have a lot of ways around fireballs, and I just wasn't using them. I wasn't reacting at all. And then, of course, dive kicks are dropping too much. You'll see me just go up and do like jump medium kick or jump heavy kick. Those are all dive kick attempts that just went wrong. Too many little mistakes in neutral, just adding up to death. It's not one big mistake that I'm making over and over again. It's just a bunch of little ones, like the misspaced dive kicks or the dive kicks not coming out at all, that just lead to me losing over time. It's not one big change that is needed, but a series of small changes. So fourth set was also Cammy versus Ryu. This is one where Juices changed up his playstyle to play a little bit more random, a lot more dashes and things to make sure I was reacting and that I was checking his movement. So I wrote, "Don't keep doing only what works. This is the time to try new things and experiment." And I put, of course, footsies are improving, reads are improving. This is mostly because I'm warming up, because, I mean, this is 4 sets in, so my brain's working now. And I was just eating way too many stray hits and taking so much damage from them, because it's Ryu, right? Stray hits convert into so much damage, so you have to be a lot more careful. And set 5 was Jury versus Ryu. This was a very fundamental problem for me. This was like the fundamentals were being tested, and I was failing at every step. So I wasn't anti-airing. That's why I wrote, "You must anti-air." I wasn't checking the dashes. I was just getting hit. And then I was blowing the V trigger, my comeback mechanic, right? Because I'm getting destroyed fundamentally, so I got to rely on my comeback mechanic. And then I'll just get in the V trigger and blow it. You know, there's not much to say about this one. It was just sloppy play for me. So here in set 7, I skipped set 6 for some reason, but here in set 7, Laura versus Cammy, I know the notes seem very harsh, but to be honest, this set alone was worth losing all the 20 to 30 games that I lost, because I felt like I was kind of getting into it. Like I was kind of making the right reads at this point. I was kind of feeling a lot better about my footsies right there with punish, everything like that. Things were going a lot better at this point. I know in the notes it says I have the right read sometimes and I just don't react or act on them at all. That was mostly when I read a jump. Like if he was jumping, I wasn't DPing still, so I should have wrote anti-airs there as well. And then dive kick execution is just fucking pitiful at this point. At this point, I was so mad at myself. I could not dive kick from crouching. I couldn't even dive kick from standing anymore, as evidenced right there. But this, I think, was my best set, was against Laura. The last set, set 8, is where I kind of reached my goal. I'm not going to switch to it because my goal was I want to log my matches until I start repeating myself, right? Until I've looped all the way back around to repeating myself. And that was set 8, Jury versus Laura. Nothing I hadn't said already, right? There's no need to show it. It's just everything that we've already talked about. And so that's that. I think it is very helpful. I don't know if it's helpful if you like write down every single set. You know, like if you played 25 games, I think eventually you're just repeating yourself. And that's what I found around set 8. So I hope this was helpful for somebody, and I hope you'll give it a shot, because it definitely did help me. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing, and I'll talk to you again very soon.